In her book, The Intention Experiment, Lynne McTaggart explores a captivating hypothesis. Human thought is an active, energetic physical force directly manipulating the universe. It is a compelling idea. We naturally crave a lever to pull when facing unpredictable circumstances, like a terrifying medical diagnosis or rising urban crime rates. The book rejects the image of humans as passive observers, standing in the background of reality. Instead, it positions us as co-creators, active architects who mold the material world through mental focus. But investigating a claim of this magnitude requires untangling a lot of complex physics. We have to determine if consciousness acts as a literal physical lever on matter, or if this concept is better understood as a profound psychological metaphor. If the strict interpretation is right, our minds wield authority over our surroundings. To test that, we have to trace the exact path of a thought, finding where mental energy collides with the physical laws of reality. The investigation starts inside the human skull. To make intention work, McTaggart outlines specific prerequisites. A person must achieve a state of deep, singular focus while maintaining emotional coherence and stability. Within the boundaries of our own nervous system, this works exactly as advertised. When we sustain focused attention, a process called neuroplasticity physically rewires our brain. The act of thinking literally builds new anatomical pathways. We see the peak of this biological power in the placebo effect. When a patient strongly believes a treatment will cure them, that mere expectation reliably triggers the body to manufacture its own pain-relieving chemicals and alter physiological health. The book also emphasizes the importance of holding altruistic, empathetic intentions toward others. Clinical studies verify that actively practicing empathy lowers cortisol levels, reduces physical stress markers, and chemically stabilizes our emotional state. Within the boundary of our own skin, human intention functions as a measurable physical force. The controversy begins when McTaggart's hypothesis attempts to leave the human body. The book suggests that the energetic force of our thoughts can project outward to interact with external matter. To explain how this projection travels, the text borrows a concept from quantum mechanics called the zero-point field. It presents this field as an invisible web of baseline energy permeating a vacuum of space, acting as a carrier wave for human thought. To back this up, the book relies heavily on decades of research from the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Lab. There, scientists asked volunteers to mentally influence machines designed to generate random numbers, testing if human will could force a mechanical system to produce non-random results. This scatterplot visualizes the type of data they collected. The researchers claimed that over thousands of trials, the random numbers started to cluster, showing a tiny mathematical deviation that correlated with what the participants were thinking. Encouraged by these laboratory anomalies, McTaggart scaled the concept up. She organized global experiments, instructing thousands to synchronize their minds on distant, real-world targets, like purifying specific water samples or lowering the crime rate in major cities. If collective thought can actively dictate the behavior of water molecules or urban crime statistics, it means human consciousness is capable of overriding standard classical mechanics. But translating microscopic physics into everyday reality is fraught with errors. Combining complex physics with spiritual theories without hard proof is quantum mysticism. When we zoom out to the broader scientific consensus on those random number experiments, the statistical anomalies prove to be incredibly fragile. Crucially, independent laboratories globally failed to replicate the results. The book also misapplies the observer effect from quantum mechanics, suggesting that human consciousness alters reality just by looking at it. In actual physics, this effect happens because the physical tools used to measure microscopic particles literally bump into them and change their trajectory, not because a human mind is present in the room. The large-scale global experiments face an even steeper hurdle. When thousands of people focus on lowering a city's crime rate, it is methodologically impossible to isolate their thoughts from the thousands of other economic, political, and social variables affecting the city that day. The physical boundary remains intact. When subjected to rigorous scientific scrutiny, there is no robust evidence that human thought, completely detached from physical action, can directly alter matter outside the human body. While the intention experiment fails as a physics textbook, it still functions as a useful psychological framework. The specific techniques it teaches, sustained focus, meditation, and altruism, are proven to optimize our biological state, building resilience, empathy, and sharp mental clarity. That optimized internal state is the engine that drives us to change our physical behavior. When we feel clearer and more empathetic, we make different decisions, and we engage with the world in a more constructive way. A synchronized group intention to lower crime does not work by broadcasting invisible energy waves. It works because it rallies a community together, inspiring individuals to step outside, organize neighborhood watches, vote for better policies, and physically support their neighbors. Human consciousness drives the creation of our physical world. Clear, organized intention acts as the mandatory blueprint, leading directly to the physical actions that build our reality.